22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
And are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show. We are on every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. First and foremost, I just want to give a special thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. Yo, I had at least, like, between all the Facebook posts and pages and comments, like over 350 people on Facebook alone. Like, that was just crazy. And then all the text messages and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. Yo, I just want to give everybody, I know I tried to thank everybody individually, but there's no way I didn't forget somebody. So I just want to thank everybody. Shout out to all my fellow Aquarians. Jeff Red celebrated his birthday earlier. Oscar Davis, I believe, is tomorrow. And the brothers that I share my birthday with, the one and only Bones Malone, who I share a birthday with, and Trayvon Martin would have been 25 years on my birthday. On my birthday, Trayvon, he would have been 25 years this year. And all the other ones, and I think R&B bad boy Bobby Brown, I also share a birthday with him too. Yeah, so it's all of us, me, Bobby Brown, Bones Malone, and Trayvon Martin, and everybody else. But I just want to thank everybody, all the fellow Aquarians. There's too many of y'all to name. I've reached out to many of y'all on Facebook, but anybody who's celebrating. I just turned 54, and I'm celebrating for 54 days, so everybody was like, oh, I was going to take you out, but I missed you on your birthday. Nope, I'm celebrating for 54 days. You got plenty of time for us to celebrate if you want to celebrate, but I just want to thank everybody. I just want to thank everybody for all the birthday cheer. My birthday was officially the 5th, Wednesday. And as promised, I said that I am going to share a lot of my journey to get healthy this year. February 4th at 12 o'clock turned into my birthday. I officially became a non-smoker. I'm battling that whole thing, but I am giving up the nasty habit of smoking. For all of y'all that kept saying, oh, AJ, I thought you was going to quit. No, you said I was going to quit. Now I'm saying I'm quitting. So I have quit smoking. I'm navigating all that comes with that, because a whole lot comes with that. That is it's a psychological addiction, and it's like everything that you do usually is attached to cigarette. I find more than anything else, even when I was working on getting to the point, I would take a cigarette, and I would have a cigarette in my hand for like 2-3 hours I'm working. I actually didn't light it up. It's a matter of like, so I've been carrying a pen. I had a meeting the other day, and I kept clicking that pen top. I know everybody at that meeting was pissed off because I kept clicking the pen, like click, 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 click. It probably was like, yo, will you stop playing with that pen? But that's what it is. It helped me So I just wanted to announce that I'm going to share my journey as promised. Throughout, I'm working on a healthier me. I had told you before I had lost a lot of weight around the holidays. I found it all. So now I'm working to seriously work on it again. I've lost 10, 12 pounds in the last 3 weeks. So I'm working to, get back that way. I'm trying to working on that whole getting in alignment physically, emotionally, spiritually, all in alignment. So I started Wednesday off. At church. They have 6 a.m. prayer at Greater Centennial. So I started my birthday off at church at prayer. Wait. We can do our little intro first, and then we're gonna have you in. So anyway, that's enough about me. But I'm gonna take y'all through my journey as promised. I'm gonna let y'all know how I'm doing. Damon's not here today. We're gonna be talking more about the whole plant-based diet thing. I'm eating healthy. He's eating nothing but plant-based. I'm not there yet. I'm still eating some meat. But I'm eating healthier though than I was eating. Shout out to Donna Nolan. She said, "Good evening, everybody, and happy birthday, AJ." Damon's not here today. He may call in. And Dr. Bob's handling some business as usual, but he said to give his to let y'all know he wish he could be here, but he has something to handle. And the lovely Lorraine Lopez is not here this week. I'm going to give her a shout out. And in the studio, I have with me a blast from the past, the first co-host of the People Before Politics radio show, Cynthia Turnquest Jones.
How you doing, everyone?
Did I turn your mic?
Where's
Your mic is on.
Hey,
Yeah,
how's
yeah,
everything?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's going on, party people? What's going on? Where's the clap?
I got like 3 or 4 mice over here, so it's like I gotta find which one is the one I grabbed.
You need
the universal mouse.
Being that like it's Bob Marley birthday and everything.
Yes, happy birthday, Bob Marley, mother. Yeah.
You should have had that.
I don't know what they have on here.
You need to get the correct.
I don't think they have that one on there. I'm sure they have that on other. I'm sure they have that on other boards, but this board don't have that.
Yeah.
You got an explosion.
There you go. That's it.
Charlie Brown teacher. We got when Damon's on. We got the censor button.
Yeah. And that's after whatever it said.
Yeah.
But yeah. So welcome.
Oh, gunshot.
People Before Politics.
Yes. Lorraine Lopez said the Queen is in the house.
What's up, Mama? How you doing? What's going on?
So real quick, because we got a full show today, but I know you always have like book lists, and I know you always have recommendations on books that people should read. So I mean, for Black History, I saw that you posted something like Black History movies you should watch for Black History. I saw that you post that.
Yeah, and on in that feed with the I'll post it up again, but in that feed in particular, there is a clip. There is a documentary of mothers who have been fighting for their sons who were murdered by police officers. Anthony Baez's mother is on there. You have Little Miss, who shout out to Little Miss, Marley Graham.
Shout out.
It makes 8 years.
Yeah. And
eight
years. That
was February 2nd.
Second, yes.
Yep, 8 years. Because the reason why I remember it is, of course, I'm going to remember it, but Bob Marley's birthday, right? So when Marley Graham was murdered, I think it was 2 days later was Bob Marley's birthday, and they called him Marley. Right. And so at the house, by the third day, there was about clearly 2,000 people outside. Extremely concerned as to what went on, and it was Bob Marley's birthday, and I was like, when I came to the house, we came right after work, because the school that we worked at and the school that Marley went to is like basically right around the corner from the house, and so we went straight to the house and was like, yo, put Bob Marley on. And we was rocking Bob Marley out there before we stormed down to the precinct.
We didn't do. Did they do that this year? I went last year. I don't remember them gathering because they usually on his birthday every year go to the 47th precinct.
Little Miss and them. They. I know. Shout out to Frank. Frank is in Jamaica.
Okay. Shout out to Frank.
Yeah. And and Little Miss is doing her thing.
That's what's up.
Still.
Shout. So before we introduce our guests, also shout to the showing of the Kenneth Chamberlain.
Yes.
His father, the killing of Kenneth Chamberlain.
Yes.
The screening is this week, Thursday and Saturday, I believe. You're going Thursday, right?
Is this week?
Yeah. He just hit me. Asking me, was I going Thursday? He asked me, was Bob still going? And he told me you was going because I was trying to figure out how
I'm going to definitely be there.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to call you and see if I can ride with you.
No problem.
Because Bob just picked up a Thursday night class.
Oh, good.
So, they had cut his classes.
Right.
This year, so any classes he could pick. He don't usually have night classes, but he just picked up a 6 to 8 on Thursday.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
But so shout out to Kenneth Chamberlain. Shout out to it's Survivors Week was celebrated last week, so you had a lot of individuals who were remembered based on them being unfortunately murdered on the streets, either by police officers or criminal activity that's in the community. Like you said, Trayvon Martin's birthday was the other day, and then we have the filming for Kenneth Chamberlain. And in regards to books for Black History Month, I'll have that list by the end of the show.
Okay, no doubt. So I'm gonna ask. We did this for Black History Month. Before all guests, we're gonna be asking them what the last book they read was.
You want to ask me now?
Yeah. Do you remember? I know I can tell you my last three. My last three was on the Other Side of Freedom. DeRay McKenzie, I think that's how you pronounce it. Commons book. Actually, my Audible is trying to come on. Commons book. Let Love Have the Last Word. And Rakim's book, Sweat the Technique. Okay. Those are actually my last three that I have read in the last month.
In regards to Black history,
just period. That's black books that I read. That's what my last. I'm gonna be asking people what's the last book they read.
All right, so
that's my last three that I read.
All right, so I'll give you my last three.
Yeah.
Right.
And as you're doing that, we're gonna have our county legislator Chris Johnson into the studio and set up. Go ahead.
Come on in, brother. Last book I read is
Absolutely.
Hello. Last book I read, Ezra Jack Keats.
Okay.
The Snowy Day, because that book.
You're gonna get her on next.
When Ezra Jack Keats' book came out, it was he broke the ceiling based on the fact of having a black character. Mm-hmm. So far that book has been the most checked out book in the New York Public Library.
Right.
And so it marks 125 celebration. And so right now they have Metro cards that has the Ezra Jack Keats.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And they also have, you could change your library card to the Ezra Jack Keats library card, where it's the book cover, mm-hmm. and that is the actual card. So that's one of the books that I read. The other book is called The Day You Begin, which is by Jacqueline Woodson.
Uh-huh. My cousin.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Anybody named Woodson that's famous is my cousin.
Anybody Woodson.
Yeah.
And Parker Looks Up. It's that little girl Parker who went to the museum and they caught that picture of her looking at the picture of Michelle Obama.
Oh yes.
Right. So those three books, and they're all children books.
Right. Well, and you read through the Tommy Davidson book, right? Y'all had
yes.
Because y'all had
Tommy Davidson.
He
book.
was up here.
Yeah, that's another book. But the book that I read constantly, over and over again, is the 48 Laws of Power.
Yes.
counseling,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I am not your Negro by
Now I can't
always.
see. Is there a young lady out there, or is there a
Yes.
lady with her son?
There's a young lady out here.
Okay, Chris, are you in a rush?
I'm not.
Okay, because Damon added a guest, so we're gonna get her in. She's gonna talk about her business, and then we're gonna get. But you can stay right there.
Oh, great! You can hang out.
Oh,
What's the last
come-
3 books? What's the last book you read?
And while you're doing that, ask the young lady to come in. But go ahead.
So what I will do, I say The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. I was working my way through that, talking about this here redlining and segregation in this country. And on my desk in my office, Policing the Black Man.
Aha.
They're ready for you to come in.
That's on my desk in my office, so y'all feel free to come up and see me in White Plains.
Okay.
See that right front and center.
I like the title. I don't know that book. The policing. Well, say that again. The police.
Policing the Black Man.
I have to read that. I have to read that. That's good. I'm gonna be doing because we did. That was the thing. Me, you, and Damon did a couple of years ago. We were asking all our guests, what was the last book they read. We pushing literacy and we don't read anymore. I mean, we don't read enough. I know sometimes I get too busy. At least now I pull up the Audible and listen to it. But I sometimes don't get a chance to physically read anymore. How about now? Donna Nolan said, "What's up, my friend Chris?" And then she said, "I can't hear Chris." So say something.
Donna, can you hear me?
Okay. I guess so. I hear you better now, so I guess.
All right. I guess I just got to be closer.
Yeah, you just pull the
Yeah.
mic up to you. And we have, hello, how are you? Come in and have a seat.
Hello.
Damon told me you were coming.
Welcome.
And-
Thank you.
So we're gonna have you because we had the show scheduled, and then he reminded me, and I was like, no, tell her to come. We're gonna squeeze her in to talk about her company. Pull your mic up to you, say your name, your company, and all that good stuff.
Okay. I am Shanika McCrae. I am the owner and founder of the Help Me Club, which is a faith-based matchmaking and life and date coaching service.
All right, and pull your mic. Just pull it closer to you.
Closer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you said faith-based. So tell me more about that. Why a faith-based single site for a better
Singles.
word? Yes.
Okay. Well, because sometimes we do things that we have a sensitivity to. And for me, dating had become an issue. And I think God had to deal with me
Okay.
and show me that there's a God-ordained way God-ordained way to date.
Okay.
Yeah, and he took me from the bottom to the top.
Ah.
And he just showed me some things, and what he showed me, I wanted to share with different singles, particularly African American singles, because we are struggling in this area. And it took off really quickly.
So what does one have to do to be a member? What is the website if somebody wants to look it up or find out more about this?
So the website is thehelpmeclub.com.
So help meet
The help
the
meet.
help meet.
Like help meet in
Okay.
the Bible, a help meet.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And so it's not a typical dating site. It's more of a private matchmaking service, one-on-one. You
Okay.
still fill out a profile, but no one no one can come to the site and see your profile. It's a relationship between me, you, and your match.
Oh.
So essentially anybody can join. You submit your information, I review it, and if I have someone for you I think you would be good to work with our company, I'll reach out to you.
So it's not one of those you get on your phone, you swipe left, you swipe left, you swipe
Oh,
left.
I don't believe in
You
that.
swipe right, no swipe left.
So can
I
you
like
repeat,
his smile,
can you
let me
repeat
swipe
it again?
left.
Because I missed it, so I could type it up here in the feed
Okay.
for the Facebook.
The website is the Help Meet Club.
The help.
Meet, MEET,
Okay.
club.com. So I actually don't believe in swiping left and right all day. I think that's unhealthy. So
Right.
if you work with me, you're probably not going to get more than 4 matches a month, which is about a match a week. Because research indicates that anything more than that is unhealthy, and you're really not going to be able to focus on 10 to 20 people every day. So if we want you to have the best results, we're going to put in front of you the best candidates, and you have to do the work after that.
So now is it just you making the selections? Do you have a team of people that
I am going to have to scale because it's growing very quickly. About 60% of the database comes from the DMV, and then 30% here from New York, and then we're kind of split all around the country. So yeah, it's gonna come to a point of scaling because it's like a wait list now because I'm so meticulous about the matches. You know, like I could pull somebody from the database and match you, but this is my company, this is my brand, and I want to give you a quality person. And it takes time for me to vet people. You know, we have to do a phone screening. And a lot of times I can detect who's got mental health, who's not going to be a good fit for the program and all.
So I was going to ask you, do you have people that you actually turn away?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So not just everyone's not welcome. Do you have to be
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So what made you? What inspired you?
How many minutes do we have? Just a few?
Yeah.
Just God dealing with me in a very bad series of my own personal relationships.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit more about God dealing with you?
God dealing with me. Okay. God had to take away what I thought I really wanted and needed and show me that all I really wanted and needed was him. And then another thing I realized was as much as I wanted to be married, I wasn't postured to be married. He had to beat a lot of things out of me. I probably was going to be a monster if somebody married me. So I've learned a lot about being selfless, being compassionate, caring, and just a great partner. And I think so many people come, and I really encourage coaching if you want to work with me. And they think that they're ready. And I can bring the perfect partner to you, but there's something in you that's not quite ready, and you just obliterate that whole match. So we have to do the work within us first if we really want to be that suitable partner for someone.
I know for me, I've come to a point where that I had to learn until you're comfortable being alone with God, you then make choices out of love and not loneliness. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are making choices out of loneliness. They don't want to be alone. You know what I'm saying? So they might be with somebody that may not be, the right person for them, but they don't want to be alone. But once you're comfortable being alone with just you and God, then you make choices out of love and not loneliness. That was a lesson that I had to learn.
That's a good lesson.
I'm good being alone with me and God. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's one of the things I had to go through.
Mm-hmm. And when God,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna highlight. I see you. I'm checking out your website. I see you got an event coming up.
Did you see it was sold out?
I didn't see that it said it was sold out. Well, I wasn't going anyway. I'm mad.
He's a married man. Yes.
Well, bless him.
Shout out to Mrs. Johnson.
That's it. Absolutely. Just in case you're listening, we just came back from church with 3J. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing we do. Events, the DC area here. I'm a little exhausted from the events now, so I kind of just want to focus back on what I do is matchmaking. But the events are great because one of the things about dating online is you don't know who you're meeting, and a lot of times people don't actually meet up. So if you give people a quote-unquote safe environment, they're more likely to come out and want to meet that match. So I take that into account when I set up events across the states. But I'm a little tired now, so I'm gonna take a break and get back to traditional matchmaking.
Okay. This is interesting. We always have some politicians on, and we always talk about issues. This is definitely one of the things Damon had mentioned. He said, if you would be interested in maybe writing something for the paper or the website on, dating, the whole dating scene for black people and everything like that. That's something that's very big that we don't ever cover. So.
Oh, absolutely. I try to keep my social media going. I'm on there every day, giving some type of dating advice, devotionals, and got a great following on that when I wake up.
So while let me follow up on that. Social media. You want to give out your social media?
The Help Me Club, or that's Facebook, and on IG it's at the Help Me Club. I'm sorry, at Help Me Club without the.
Okay. So what advice right now, anybody listening and they're sitting there and they're like, hey, that's an interesting idea. What advice would you give to young, black, single people that,
The first thing you will need to do so that you're not dating aimlessly is date with a purpose. So when you meet people, it cannot be just, hey, I'm kicking it. He looks good. She looks good. We could see if we could do this. You need to ask a few questions. And you don't need to be an interrogative monster, But you need to understand where this man or this woman wants to go. Where do they see themselves in the next year? If they're not mentioning anything about marriage and you want marriage, then you need to be able to say, okay, this one is not for me, and trusting God that the person that he has for you is going to make his way to you at that right time.
Is it just for people in New York and D.C., or can anybody online?
Anyone.
I got some sisters I know in Georgia. I'm about to send your way real quick. I'm about to say seriously.
Anyone, as long as you're willing to date long distance, because we may not have a big database in Atlanta. So if you're open to that meeting point not being where you live, yes.
Okay. Anything I didn't ask you, and can you give the information one more time, website, everything, how people go about,
Okay. So just to recap, it is completely free to join the database. We're actually running a pilot program now. It's a match a week for $49 each week. Okay. The only other thing you'll have to pay is for like the $25 phone screening. But I'll tell you when to go ahead and do that. So the initial thing you need to do is submit your information. It's a little complicated, so just to make it simple, you can fill out the quick form, and I'll follow up with you after that. Okay. Again, the website is thehelpmeetclub.com. Social media, it's the Help Meet Club. That's Facebook, and IG is at Help Meet Club.
And your name again?
And my name is Shanika McCrae.
Can you spell it?
Yes, SHANEEEKA.
Now, lastly, I do want to ask. So, I've been married, so in church I was the marriage couple, and I was the same. There's a lot of holier than thou people in church that are too spiritually minded to be any earthly good. So now that I got that out,
you said that without breathing.
So a lot of people think like you can't be a Christian and date, like you can't.
Well, you can be a Christian and date. Actually, you need to be a Christian and date.
Right.
But then that comes with obedience.
Right.
And knowing how to not necessarily be at certain places at certain times, like when the sun goes down and very late, and listening to those R&B songs that bring certain things out of you. You can absolutely be. And the other thing about being Christian too, a lot of women I get, they are very specific about how they want their Christian mate to be, and I need you guys to stop that. As long as a person believes in God, trust that he will get that person who's supposed to be with you to the point that you need to be in order for you two to be together and follow Christ.
One of the things I found out from my man, I'm divorced now, but one of the things I did find out, God takes two imperfect people and makes a perfect union when God selects that.
When he is involved.
When he's involved. Because you know what? There's a whole lot of people, men and women, y'all are looking for 100% something, and y'all passing up on some good 80, 90% people. Y'all looking for that. There ain't no 100%. There is no 100%.
Right.
They do not exist.
Right, and what's also interesting is that individuals are looking for something that they're not even.
Right, so, something that they're not.
You want someone to be all of these things, and you can't even hold up to that list that you have.
Right.
Right, and so some of the things that I say to individuals, well, would you date yourself? Mm-hmm. Would you marry yourself? Maybe it's not them.
Right.
I really do think it's you, but I just say maybe it's not them.
Well, that's great coaching right there.
Right. Would you date yourself? Would you hire yourself? Mm-hmm. Another question that we ask in the education system, would you have your child in your classroom and you teaching them?
Good question.
Any last words?
Just thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. And if, like I said, if you do want to write something, please feel free. And as your site goes to the next stage of whatever it is, and you want to come back and update us and let us know what's going on, please do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. And good luck with all of that.
Nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Do you have a card?
And I want to thank County Legislator Chris Johnson for being patient.
No, absolutely.
We're going right into you right now.
Listen, I can hear people talk about healthy relationships. That's a positive thing.
We need to have more conversations in our community about healthy relationships.
It's necessary.
What a healthy relationship is, because all relationships and all marriages are not healthy.
True.
So we need to have those conversations.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, thank you very much.
Have a great evening.
All right, the Help Meet Club, and it's Shanika. Did I say it right?
You did.
Shanika McCrae. Okay, matchmaking coach. I will definitely. Yes, definitely in Yonkers, and she's here in Yonkers,
I am.
located in
And,
Yonkers.
I'll contact you about the information for the blog.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
blackwestchester@gmail.com.
I think I have that.
Okay, yes. Wait, do I have a card for you? Maybe I might have a card for you. Hold on. Yes, I do.
Perfect. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you very much for coming to the show. My brother. This is the first. This is your first appearance since you have been county legislator. You've been on. Yes, you've been on several times as city councilman. You were here on the run and the debate or candidate session.
Yeah.
But you have not been back since you have got in your seat. So.
Oh wow, I blame y'all for that.
Dude, it's always you're always welcome.
Yeah.
Because I seen you somewhere and you was like, I gotta come through, and I'm like, yo, let me know when. Hit me.
Y'all let me know, and I'm here.
Okay.
This,
Shout out
I
to
love it.
your administrative aide. I forget.
Tika Parker.
Yes.
She's good.
She was
people.
very thorough. I was like, he has my number. Oh, let me get it in. I
Yep.
said, he knows the studio. He been before. No. Let me
She
get
gotta
the
make it
address.
happen. If it's not there, it don't exist. It's
So
not on the calendar.
she made
knows.
sure that she had all the information, even though you knew the studio, you knew the number. She was like, no.
That's
Oh,
it.
and actually, before you leave, I need to get your cell number because in my new phone, I didn't transfer over, and Damon wants to talk. Damon told me to tell you he's going to give you a call.
See, if Damon wanted to talk to me, he could have been here.
Oh well, he's in Orange County these days.
Nah, it's
so
okay.
yeah.
It's all good.
And then he got to work tonight, so.
Respect.
So yeah, Damon, we might get him in his studio once a month if we're lucky, and whenever I decide to leave town, he has to come in. So
Fair enough.
Yeah. So he's not. I don't know if he's tuned in at all yet, but I know he told me though he definitely wanted to holler at you. I don't know, some county legislation or something.
Of course.
With something.
That's what I do now.
Yeah. So how has it been? How have you are the
Majority whip.
majority now? What is that for the people that don't know?
So the Democratic caucus, which is the majority caucus at the board, amongst us, we choose leadership. After we choose the chair and the vice chair, which are Ben Boykin and Alfreda Williams, respectively, then we choose a majority leader who's in charge of the caucus, and that's Mary Jane Shimsky. And then we choose a majority whip, whose job it is to count votes. To make sure,
whip the votes. That's
yeah,
what
whip,
that's where the expression
there
came
you
from?
go, whip the
Okay,
votes.
okay.
See where people are and have conversations with my colleagues to see if we're on the same page, and if we're not on the same page, where that movement needs to be to make things happen. Because the reality is, if you don't know anything about the legislative body on any level of government, you got to be able to count. And so our number is 9. First one to 9 gets the legislation passed. And if the county exec vetoes, then it's the first one to 12. So you got to count those. You got to count those votes.
Well, it would be hard to lose many votes since there's not 9 on the other side. And I saw that you are no longer the youngest.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
So I told this joke. I'm sitting in caucus when we were choosing leadership, and I told my colleagues, I'm going to be the youngest member of this caucus for at least the next 2 years. And that lasted about a month until Friday when David Tubiolo, who was the minority whip, he switched parties and he became a Democrat just in time to make sure he can vote in the Democratic primary that's coming up. And he felt that his values matched with ours more than the party that he left. So
well, he's always, even though he was representing the Republican Party, he was one of the first ones to come to the Westchester Black Political Conference that we had, and he was one of the first to join. Like he's a paid member of the Westchester Black Political Conference. He's always supported Black Westchester. Everything we've done, he comes through. And the other thing I want to say, and for his part of Mount Vernon is more the Fleetwood side.
Right.
But if you call him about something that's on the south side, and he's coming through to look at that.
Right.
Like, he's coming through to make himself available, and that's not even his part of town.
And that's
what I'm
I think
saying.
is
And I
important.
got to give him,
when you have elected officials who don't say no just because they're supposed to say no because their party affiliation says that. They actually look at the issues and take all the things into account that need to be taken into account before making a decision. I think that's who we have. That's who we had in the minority, last week, and now that's still who we have in just one member of the minority. But now we got another member in our caucus who does that.
Right. So now it's what, 15-1?
16-1.
16-1?
16.
So it would kind of be hard to lose a vote at 9. It would be hard. Like
So, no,
eight, 9 Democrats have to just say no against
it's
you.
not coming to the floor and going down.
Right.
But a lot of these decisions get made in committees.
Okay.
Where the structure of the committee is made up of a different number of members of the board, and then an even larger number of things like we just talk about on conference calls and in caucus meetings, and we kind of feel each other out. Where are you on this issue? How do different parts of the county feel about specific issues? And we have those conversations in-house, right? So people talk about the Democratic Party being the big tent party, which really means like...
Now, what is that? Because yo, during the press conference, you, Reggie, and someone else mentioned the big tent.
Right.
What is that?
So generally, when you look at the Republican Party, generally, and I don't want to speak for every Republican, but there's a thought process that you think that they go through, right? They care about low taxes. They care about making sure that there's quote-unquote economic freedom and letting the market work and lax regulations and things of that nature. But when you look at Democrats, you have everything, right? You have people who believe in economic freedom and less regulations. You have people who think that we need more regulations. You have people from Bernie Sanders who are talking about, being democratic socialist, all the way to people like Joe Biden who are like low and slow and like, let's be moderate and let's take our time. And so when we talk about Big Tent, we're saying we have everybody in here from every walk of life who have different thoughts, who come from different backgrounds, and we all want to get together, have real conversations, and see how we can move forward together. And that's, I think, what we really need to do, right? Because we're not a homogeneous society. Everybody is not the same. We come from different places. I mean, even in this county, right? You look at, my district versus David Tubiolo's district, right? Both mostly in Yonkers. He has some in Mount Vernon, obviously, as well. But you go from one district to the other, and there are lots of parts of it that look different, but have people with different experiences and different livelihoods. And so how do we then go to White Plains and have conversations about how to make his constituents' lives better while still making my constituents' lives better? And then how do we add in people from Sleepy Hollow and Ossining and Lewisboro, communities that are more homogeneous, and communities that are Hispanic, and communities that have people from Middle Eastern countries, and obviously Black people? How do we all come together, have that conversation, and move this county forward? And that's what the Big Tent is.
Okay, I'm glad you explained that. Now, Lorraine Lopez couldn't make it today, but she just left you a comment. She said, "Congratulations on your baby. County legislator, seeing you in action with the baby. You're a great daddy."
Thank you.
So how old is your...
He'll be 6 months tomorrow.
Okay, 'cause I've seen you with the pictures.
That's it.
And while I was looking for a picture for the flyer, some of the best ones was you holding the baby.
Yeah.
And I don't always play with people's pictures with their kids.
Yeah.
Some people don't want their kid in the picture, so I didn't use one, but there were some great pictures of you holding the baby.
The light of my life. When people talk about having children changes you, it changes everything around you at the very least. And,
absolutely.
The focus, now I'm the chair of social services in addition to being majority whip, and I actually asked the chairman to make me chair of social services because one of the things that we oversee is childcare in this county. And while I cared about childcare before, it wasn't at the forefront of my life, right? It wasn't something I dealt with personally in the past. And now, having to make sure that my household is financially prepared to make sure that my son can have somewhere safe, and where they're going to be responsible with him to go each and every day while my wife and I go to work, is important. And I recognize the needs of everybody else in this county to do so. And so when these things hit you personally, you really can reflect on them differently.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How much is childcare right now?
So it's too much. That's just the general answer for everybody. That's just the reality.
My daughter is 30, and I'm so glad.
The reason why
I don't have to deal with that. Like, for real, I'm keeping it real. My daughter.
The reason why I asked is because earlier this week, individuals are now advertising for summer camps. and they will see a certain price and be like, oh, that's a lot. I'm like, nah, no,
Yeah.
that's not a lot. And so that's why so everyone that was in the library, I kept asking them. I was like, well, how much is childcare? Because I have an 18-year-old and an army man, and I don't know how much childcare is. How much is childcare?
Anywhere from $1,000 a month to $2,500 a month. Anywhere in that range. Talking about $250 a week is basically the low end. Before any subsidies kick in, if you are low income and you fit in one of those categories, which is basically like in Westchester, 225% of the poverty level, and you can get some subsidies, which is nothing. I mean, you think about what the poverty level is, the rate is, and then you add New York State's minimum wage, and you're talking about if you have two household income people making $15 an hour, they likely won't qualify to afford subsidies. So they'd have to come out of pocket $1,000 a month just to make sure that their children.
It's crazy because it's crazy because for new families, new people, young people trying to start families, you can't afford to live in Westchester between the rent or buying a house and then with childcare. Like there's some people like I forgot how many people that I just saw a chart how just paying for rent is the majority, 60% of their salary.
Yeah, we did.
So then you can't afford. Then you can't afford childcare because then that's like.
Well, then you can't eat, right? Maybe you can afford childcare and housing.
Something has right.
Yeah.
So when I used to be the director at the Yonkers YWCA in the daycare, and one of the main issues was that they have a program that individuals are in and they will help with daycare. However, when that parent got a job, they would snatch the money away immediately.
You would tell them. You would tell them.
It wouldn't. It's like it didn't wean them into this, and slowly where okay, so you have to pay 25% and we'll pay the 75%, and then you pay 50% and we pay. No, it was just automatic, off the cuff, boom.
So it's kind of like you're being penalized for getting a job, almost like
it's not understood where we are all we're interdependent. It didn't operate like that, and so there was a lot of mothers who were there, and I would get into big arguments with the CEO because she was like, "Oh, you told the financial officer not to charge that lady." Of course, I said the lady just got a job.
Right.
She can't afford this.
It becomes a disincentive, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about people who you hear all the time from a lot of conservative individuals. Oh, these people who want to say on public assistance. It's not a want. It's not a desire to quote unquote cheat the system. It's really the system is not made up currently for you to gradually break away from it and then succeed. Either you hit the jackpot and you get to walk away, or you are stuck in a perpetual cycle where you have to be attached to it. And so we need to come up with better ways to move people away from it. And honestly, this problem is with regard to childcare, it's got to come from the top,
right.
Which is we're going to struggle getting that from out of Washington D.C. anytime soon. But the state has to, we're looking for the state to do a little bit more. And then we were able to do a little bit more in this last county budget as we have shifted the priorities of Westchester County under the leadership of this county executive and this new Democratic majority on the board.
I got a question from Keisha Skipper, but before I go there, so we had Mayor Spano on 2 weeks ago, within the last 2-3 weeks.
I wanted to listen to that show.
And one of the things we asked, that was a question from our audience, was about homelessness and the homeless shelter, either trying to be open or something in Yonkers, and him explaining that comes from the county. So what is the county? Is the county planning on doing? We have homeless problem, period. But I know I've done extensive stories of homelessness in Yonkers, and I actually had you when we had Laura Case. We called you and you called in that day.
One of the reasons I ran.
Right, and she we have the working homeless where they have jobs and the kids go to school, but they can't afford to have a home, so they're in shelters, like they're working homeless, and that number is increasing. It's not just Yonkers, but I've done a lot of stories in Yonkers, and the shelters either being in poor condition or closing. So from the county level, now that you represent that district from the county level, can you speak a little bit there, and then I want to get to Keisha's question too.
No, so absolutely. You know what we've seen. You talk about the number of people who are homeless, right? That doesn't include people who are couch surfing, right? So I have a family member, and I hit them up, and I'm like, "Yo, my situation isn't working. Can I stay on your couch?" I mean, the number of individuals that we're talking about is exponential, and unfortunately it's increasing. We're going in the wrong direction, where we are now opening. We're doing a test site in Mount Vernon. Because Oasis is in New Rochelle is too crowded, and so we've got to find places to put more people. And so
it's Mount Vernon, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where the
So I don't know where Damon is, but rustle up the papers, Damon. Rustle the tape, because he gonna say I talked about this years ago.
Right.
It's Mount Vernon is always targeted.
Well, so I will say this: like I know Yonkers. Part of the fight in Yonkers, to get back to the question, is where are all of these where are these individuals coming from? And the reality is, a lot of them come from the communities in which the population it has less income ability, right? So if you become homeless, you probably didn't go from $1 million house to homeless. So you weren't in Scarsdale before you became homeless. You probably had an affordable unit somewhere. You're probably paying low rent, and your landlord flipped the house, sold it, and they tried to move you out. Or you were in substandard living, and the buildings department came in and shut down the building, and so now you can't live there anymore. God forbid there was a tragedy, and we had a fire in Yonkers a couple months over the summer. On North Broadway.
We covered that story.
Those individuals had to find housing, and luckily, you shout out to Shatika again, who did a yeoman's job in making sure that a number of those people found housing, and some of them ended up in our system at the county before they found housing. But in Yonkers specifically, we had the sharing community close,
right?
And so we needed a place for those individuals to go.
Why did it close in the midst of a crisis?
Mostly financial. I will say
it was neglect.
I'll say there was a lot of pressure, and continues to be a lot of pressure from the city to remove homeless people, and where me and the mayor see eye to eye.
Repeat that. Say that again.
Remove homeless people.
What do you mean by that?
Getting there. So where me and the mayor see eye to eye is we want less homeless people. However, where I think where we miss each other is he just wants them gone, however that comes to fruition, and I want to make sure that through a process we move people to a point where they can financially sustain themselves, and where we give them the type of shelter and the type of programmatic assistance to help them move in that direction. So we contracted with Kingdom Christian Cultural Center on Palisade Avenue, about 2 or 3 blocks away from where the sharing community was, and that's where the individual is staying temporarily under the watch care of the YWCA. Shout out to Charlie Knight, the current executive director. And there's a plan for just about 2 blocks from there, a long-term solution to be built out, and that's currently underway, and we're hoping that is a solution that moves forward. But I've heard that the city's buildings department and the city talking about is it zoned for that, is the property prepared for that, and they're putting a lot of pressures on A, that site, and B, the church whose mission it is to make sure that people in need get the services that they need. So there is the mayor's job is to make sure that the city is headed in a forward direction, but we got to make sure that as we head in that direction, we're not leaving the most needed behind.
Absolutely. There was a question, and it kind of goes with that. Keisha Skipper, she's tuned in.
Right.
Yeah. She said, "What's up, one?" And she said, "Let's talk about housing need assessment, affordable housing, and homelessness." And then asks, "Is the program with the LSHV going to continue?
So LSHV, that's Legal Services of the Hudson Valley. What we were able to do in the budget 2 years ago, and we expanded that in the last budget, is make sure that if you receive an eviction notice and you show up to court, and you qualify, you're a person of low income, Legal Services of the Hudson Valley will provide you with an attorney in court. So that is not you versus your landlord and their attorney, right? So I know that if I went to court and I had to stand across from a landlord who I paid my rent to every month, or I tried my best to do so, and their high-paid attorney, I'm probably going to lose because I don't know the laws as well, because I don't know the loopholes, and because clearly they brought me here for a reason. But when Legal Services provides you with an attorney, they have a 95% success rate in making sure individuals get to stay in their home. And so one of the ways that we can stop the tide of homelessness is to stop people from becoming homeless, right? Mm-hmm. So we can help all the people find housing that we can, but if we keep having people lose housing, that number is going to continue to increase. Right. So let's stop people from becoming homeless and deal with people who are homeless simultaneously. And so that's what one of the things that program does. The housing needs assessment is really interesting because, as you alluded to earlier, it talks about the fact that a large majority of people in this county, from every single community, whether you live in Scarsdale or whether you live in Peekskill or whether you're in Mount Vernon, Yonkers, there is a large number of people who pay more than 50% of their income towards their housing. And so what the Department of what HUD has said is that for people to be housing secure and live a good life, whatever that means, 30%, no more than 30% of your income should go towards your housing. So that means we have a housing crisis, a true housing crisis, right, of all different incomes in Westchester County. Our housing is just way too expensive, and that's in part because there's not enough of it, and in part because of our proximity in New York City, and with high demand, prices shoot up, and so we've got a lot of work to do to make sure that costs can stay reasonable for people to be able to stay in their homes, but not obviously stress the market, right? Because we don't want to, be accused of tilting the scales.
I don't know if it's like that when I was in Georgia though. When there was when I was looking for a place to stay, a lot of those places require your salary to be 3 times your income to be 3 times a minimum of 3 times the rent,
which would be the third.
Yeah, or you wasn't even qualified to go in.
So that's changing. $15 an hour is not shooting it.
No,
it's
even worse.
It's actually shooting it. That's what it's doing.
Right, and Atlanta's worse because the cost of living is cheaper. So
right,
$15 an hour is like a lot of money there.
Right,
so, but
you could stretch that much further.
Right.
Keisha said the pilot started in Yonkers,
yes,
and then in Mount Vernon. Everyone having representation makes a difference. Great work, Christopher.
Thank you, Keisha. Full disclosure, Keisha used to work for me, so she would give me all the shout-outs. But I will say this, part of the good thing of being in this Democratic caucus, you can't do anything by yourself when you're a legislator. You need other people. Part of being whip is recognizing where those votes are. And so I got to give my colleagues a lot of credit here. They stood with me to start the pilot in Yonkers, and when they saw that it worked, they demanded, to their credit, that it be expanded. So Lyndon Williams was like, we need this in Mount Vernon. Colin Smith, who wasn't yet a legislator, he was legislator-elect at the time. Right? Yep. And Catherine Borgia were like, hey, we need this in Peekskill, Ossining, so now we have it up there as well. There's true demand and recognition that this policy works.
That's what's up.
Good work.
Donna Nolan said, Chris, what did you think of my son Jimmy's county public service announcement for illegal drag racing?
So I haven't heard that, Donna.
For what?
I got illegal drag racing.
Have you ever? Well, have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it was okay.
I've seen it. Okay. If you're coming, a couple of nights when I'm coming from Long Island, because my turnquest live in Long Island, and I'm on I take the Throgs Neck or the Whitestone Bridge, and when I'm coming on the Hutch,
right,
heading north,
right,
heading south, they have the entire thing is blocked, and they start drag racing.
That's crazy.
No, I'm dead serious, and it's not 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. It's serious. And they'll have the hutch heading south jammed up.
Just so that they can race. And this,
Just so they could race.
so they used to be all up and down Central Avenue. And I know a lot of people in Yonkers specifically complain about the red light cameras, but stopped it because they were running reds and ticket. And so they stopped racing on Central Ave. And, I commend the Nolan family for all the work that they're doing around drag racing. Obviously, like, it's dangerous. You want to drive fast cars like NASCAR, like, go ahead, like, try to become a professional, but this doesn't need to happen on public streets.
But I'm telling you, I've seen it. And at first I was like, what was it? Maybe it's a car accident.
Right.
That's
like,
the first
why
time.
they backed up?
Because I'm already going like 90. Like when it was a car accident, I keep going. But then again, I said, wait a minute. So I slowed all the way down, crawled all the way down. I was like, drag, flat out, all out, drag racing on the hutch.
Crazy.
Heading south.
So the red light camera stopped it on Central Avenue. Did it stop it or did it just push it somewhere else?
Well, it stopped it on Central.
Okay, see,
right?
that's the thing you talk about. It's no more on Central, but
it's somewhere
there's some
else.
other street.
Yeah.
Lorraine Lopez wanted to ask you, I know each municipality has a census board or committee.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically is the county's role in the census other than marketing it?
So we have our own census committee at the county. One of the things that we're doing is linking in to local committees to say, what are your needs? What can we do at the county level to make sure that you get what you need to make sure that your communities are counted? We put some money into this budget to make sure that we could do some marketing. So you check out some bus stops and the buses. I know that I've seen them in those locations personally to say, hey, you count.
Census.
Yeah, to make sure that we're all counted.
Right.
And I think I heard the county exec talk about a donation that we received from, I want to say T-Mobile. Sorry if I get the wrong phone company, who is donating some electronics so that we can make sure that people can remotely, get counted.
Right.
So one of the things that the census this year is trying to do is move from mail and paper responses to responding online.
It goes out mid-March.
And so, so the problem with, or the difficulty, I don't want to say the problem, the difficulty with that is low-income households with no or low internet access. That's a problem.
It's assumed.
Senior citizens who don't have the savvy in some cases to use the internet. We want to make sure that we're getting into senior census, we're getting into these locations so that individuals can fill out the census with assistance. One of the things I think is important, right, is when your kids tell you, have you done this? Have you done this, Mom? Have you done this, Dad? I learned about this in school. I heard about it. Like, parents then get on the ball. So we got to make sure that children in schools,
they're talking about it in schools.
So that they can, So they go home and say, Mommy, Daddy, did you do the census? I want to count.
So I'm going to say this, and I say this about a lot of situations. What I would like to see, public elected officials and candidates running for office have no problem getting whatever literature they are all over the daggone city, everywhere, stuff in gates, mailboxes. It's no problem getting all of that. I would like to see that kind of push for getting the word out about the census. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Like, until like, that's in every election, you can't go nowhere without seeing signs, without stuff in your mailbox. They either put it in there or they stuffed it in your gate. And they everywhere you go, somebody's handing you something at the supermarket. Yeah. That kind of push, that's how we reach people.
And honestly,
and we need to reach people the same way and marketing this and putting out how important this is.
No, and it's worth it for politicians, right? Because I like to say that we have two jobs. One is to represent the people we were elected to represent, and two, get reelected so we can keep doing it. And in the vein of number one, doing the job, when we get money from the federal government because we were counted properly, we as electeds can then take credit for that because we are making sure that the bacon is brought home. So it's our responsibility. You're right. We got to make sure that people are getting counted, that everybody out here, that we know that you exist. And that's really what the census is. I don't need to know your name.
Right.
I don't need to know, specifics about you and, your household and your social security. I don't need to know all of that. I just need to know that you exist. I need to know how many people exist in your household.
I think it'd be different from before based on this is just my assumption and my observation. I think it'd be different from before because right now individuals are allowed to go and get a driver's license, right? And so I don't know if anyone is listening. Do not go to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You will be in there for hours.
The line
I went
is
in
long
there
right
for
now.
to register my car, and I was in there. I got in there at 3:33. And
Did you have an appointment?
3:33.
Did you have an appointment?
No.
That's the first thing I hear people ask these days. Do you have an appointment?
Because you can make an appointment now, but I didn't know that. When's the last time I've been in the DMV?
The last person I know
I
said
didn't
they
know
had an
that.
appointment said they was there for 3.5 hours.
33, and it was 6:33 when the lady got up and said, "I want to make an announcement." First of all, when I got there at 3:33, they was on number 4,000. This is in Yonkers.
Yep.
Then I started
was you on
calculating
line
up the money.
outside?
I started calculating up the money, right? So then they said that they have to open early, and they close later. And the lady said that when we get here for work in the morning, because I'm gonna go around and start asking questions, you know me. And she said we get here in the morning, and there's already a 2-hour line.
Yep.
I seen pictures of the line when they first said something
Yeah.
about the address.
So,
I wanted to say one thing about the census real quick. In Mount Vernon, like in places like Mount Vernon, where the last census said 68,000 plus or whatever, 1960, it was 70,000 people. You can't tell me it's less people now. So that's one. And two, Yonkers, if they do their count right, and Spano mentioned it, y'all might actually pass Buffalo as the number and go to the number 4th largest city. That's supposed to number 5.
Right now we're
like
number 4. We pass Rochester and become number 3. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Easy.
Right. So it's an important. And then Lorraine had always talked about every year y'all were just under the 200,000 or whatever.
Just under
the number.
200,000.
And it was just like yo,
198,
just you're like yo, and going over 200,000 is a whole nother level of funding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
right.
just
So
like
I think individuals will feel a little bit more comfortable with because of the acceptance of getting a driver's license. Understand? Because you're uncomfortable filling that out. That's the thing. So
these are the things about local policies, right? So when we talk about different levels of government, and obviously you look at the federal government right now, it's hostile towards all individuals who have pigment in their skin, right? For different reasons. If you are a brown person, you don't want to deal with it, especially if you are an immigrant. If you are a black person, obviously we know what that feels like. But it's important at the state level that they say, look, if you are a person who has a job and you need to get to work, that you get a driver's license. It's important that on the local level, you have a mayor who tells his police department, when you respond to an incident, don't ask for a person's status, because then individuals are not going to call you, and we're going to have more crime, and we're going to have people taken advantage of, because the predators will know that they won't call the police. And so then you create a level of distrust. Instead, we have communities, we have a state that is trying to make sure that people who are immigrants, who live in New York, feel welcome. We have a city who recognizes that individuals who don't have permanent status still need to use the services that we provide. And so if we can create that type of culture, people will respond to the census and be counted. And so that is why that's important. And I mean, in Mount Vernon even, I've seen some of these maps. Like, there are some neighborhoods in Mount Vernon where it's like, whoa, we got to get these numbers up. So one of the things that I heard Assemblyman Gary Prello mention, we got to get some young people who look like us to get some of these census jobs, because y'all been
sharing the flyer for everywhere, and I don't think a lot of our people are going for the jobs.
Right, and some people that don't look like us may not want to go in some neighborhoods in Mount Vernon, but if you're from the block, you knock on that door easy to make $25 an hour.
And plus, the people recognize you and know you and are probably more comfortable with sharing this information with you than some stranger that doesn't look like you. Coming to the close, anything I haven't asked you that you want to speak about? Any?
So I just do want to say, in the spirit of Black History Month, I just want to talk about, real briefly, give me 45 seconds, the level of success that we've had in Black elected office in Westchester County. In Yonkers, we have 2 Black people, both Black women, on the Yonkers City Council. First time ever there's been more than one, and we're talking about 30 years of Black electeds in Yonkers.
And Tasha switched that district. 3,
Tasha,
right? Yeah,
well, it was a Democratic seat, but it's the first time it's a person of color.
Right, that's what. Yeah.
And so White Plains, Nadine Hunt Robinson is the president of the city council.
Right.
First time
ever we
a Black woman
right.
sitting in that seat. So I did White. Peekskill has Andre Rainey, and they have I think Crystal is the councilwoman's name up there doing their thing.
Greenberg, Gina.
So the first time in Greenberg as well, where they've got 2 people on the town council that are Black. And so 3 people, if you include the clerk, elected town-wide in Greenberg. Judith Beville.
Right.
If you look at Mount Vernon, obviously the success of having the first Black woman elected to be mayor of the city, big time. The county board itself, 6 Black people. That's the high watermark. Never happened. We were at, the most it was before was, I think, 3. We had Lois Bronze in Greenberg. We had Andrea Stewart Cousins in Yonkers. And we had whoever, Mount Vernon obviously always sent somebody. And now we've got add Ben Boykin in White Plains to that. Alfreda is now the Lois Bronze seat. I'm where Andrea, and follow in between us is Ken. We got Lyndon in Mount Vernon. Colin Smith, the first Democrat ever elected to represent Peekskill,
right.
And he's a brother. And then Terry Clements in New Rochelle, who flipped that seat from Republican to Democrat.
Right.
So there is 6 Black people in the Westchester County Board of Legislators, first time ever, high watermark. So the success that we're seeing now needs to translate, though, right? And I think that the work that happens here on this radio show, keep pushing us. I mean, shout out the good that we're doing, but continue to push us, because when we get into these places, we're supposed to support the policies that look out for our people.
Right. Well, I want to, and I joked about you not being here. You know, this is an open door. You already had a relationship with the show, and when you need to address something, and when you need to speak something, when you need to get the word out about something, please, if we haven't contacted you, contact us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you utilize us to reach the people.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Absolutely. And congratulations with everything, man. I'm watching.
Thank you.
I'm watching.
Thank you. It's good work. People congratulate me, and I'm just trying to do my part. Right, we all have a part to play.
That's right.
To make sure that we can move this county, move our specific cities, this state, and this nation forward. I do have to say, my wife, Ty Johnson, formerly Ty White, wanted to say what's up to you.
What's going on, baby?
She texted me. She said, "You better say hi to her." Like, we go back, so she recognized who you were, and so.
And she's up there with Tish, right?
Yeah, so she works for the Attorney General. She's like her right hand.
Nice.
So black on black. So
we got like a little power couple going on here.
Listen, no, I just do what she says. I just do what she says. I tell people, I purchased my home in Yonkers, and I was single. I was by myself, and I was in charge. Then I got married, and it was fine because I was number 2. But now 3J's around. That's my son's name, and that's why Keisha put 3J.
She put 3J, yeah.
And so now I'm third in the house, right? He's the boss, and then my wife is the boss, and then I'm just the guy that sits on the couch sometimes. So thank you guys. It's always a pleasure.
No doubt. Like I said, welcome anytime. And I've reached out, like Paul Fine and others. If you want to ever write something for the paper, for your district, I mean, mostly it's been mayors and stuff that do that. Mm-hmm. But if you ever want to, write a column as often, it don't have to be monthly. It could be quarterly. Okay. It could be twice a year. But
appreciate the offer.
We need we need to get the voice from the different areas to kind of let the people know what's going on.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So because we all over the county.
So
right?
Spano's done it once. Paul Finer does almost every month.
Yeah, he's on.
Rainey promises me he's gonna do it every month. You know what I'm saying? Andre's done it a few times. I'm probably gonna reach out to Sean at some point.
Yeah.
So
I'll get one in there, at some point. But
okay.
I
But you let me
appreciate it.
know when I'm just saying that's open. So you
Sounds
let me
good. You already know who to talk to. You met the boss.
Okay.
Shatika's in charge.
Okay.
Look, I'm just the face that they put on it. That's it.
Well, we thank you.
My
we
pleasure.
have another guest coming, and I definitely want to give him their time. It's a young man. He goes, he's in Stepanek High School. He was linebacker of the year in New York State, so we definitely want to showcase that. But before we do that, I want to pay some bills real quick. Let me make that happen. Hold on.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Let me switch screens real quick. Okay. Definitely want to showcase that. But before we do that, one thing, hold on. I have too many screens in front of me. So one second. The volume on that is where we were hearing. Yes. There's the volume off on that. Yes. Okay, here we go. Okay. And now a word from our sponsor.
Ty Associates is a BBB accredited financial firm serving Mid-Hudson, New York, and the surrounding areas. From tax return preparation and amended returns to refund planning, we offer reliable financial services with keen attention to detail. Since 1998, we have proven the quality of our service with our clientele reaching across all 50 states. Ty Associates manages the Mets. Money, energy, time, and space. Let us go to bat for you. Ty Associates, tying it all together.
Shout to our advertiser, Ty Associates. Shout out to them. They just renewed their ad, so that's always a beautiful thing for a couple more months. We have, as you see now, we have offer 30-second commercial spots on the radio show for $150. So if you want to advertise your business, your organization, and all your elected officials, you want to get your commercial in, holler at us at blackwestchester@gmail.com. Now, I want to pull something else up real quick. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I came across this. Let me see. Is this the right one? I think so. Yes. So this is one video I found. Oh, it started already. Hold on. Switch this over. Has this got volume on it?
Yeah, eventually.
This is at Syracuse. Are those Syracuse football players that you're on the line against? Oh.
No, it's my peers, other high school students that are also trying to get their hands on Syracuse.
Okay. Well, I see you not giving up your position. You ain't nobody getting by you. That's what it's supposed to be. So I want to introduce my next guest. They call him AJ like me, but it's is it Ajani Cornelius. Welcome to the show. Stepanek High School senior, 2019 linebacker of the year in New York, lineman of New York State, big. And I seen the video. So it was Syracuse. I seen Temple. I guess so. You was getting the attention of a lot of the schools.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be on People Before Politics.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. We want to get you before you blow, because you're going to Rhode Island next, right?
Yes, I am.
Before you go to Rhode Island, and then you go and you blow up in the NFL, and be like, yo, we had him when you big on the NFL.
Definitely.
We can tell you, your first interview was here.
For sure.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Harlem, New York.
Right.
I grew up in Harlem. I played for the Harlem Jets. I went to school in White Plains. I played for Archbishop Stepinac. I've been there for the last 4 years. I recently just signed to the University of Rhode Island, and I'll be going there next year.
So you, like with anything you do, and I always tell young people, like Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team, but then he stayed in his yard and he worked on his shot and did whatever he had to, and became one of like the nicest players.
Absolutely.
Like whatever it is you do, you got to put in hard work and dedication. And to travel from Harlem every day to White Plains alone, and then all that physical, all the training and stuff, you got to be dedicated.
Definitely, it was a big dedication, a big decision for me in going to high school outside of the city. It really proved that I was focused on football and academics, and I really wanted to be and excel and get to the best place I could be in that. And I felt that Stepinac was the right decision, and making that trip every morning and after school was something necessary to get to where I wanted to be.
Right. Now, I two things you said, and you said academics, which a lot of athletes don't. And when you go to school, you are a student athlete, and people forget the student part. And secondly, I know your mom, and your mom ain't one of those moms that play no games, so she was gonna make sure
Somebody asked for your autograph now.
Oh, right.
Her name is Nesta Felix.
Oh, Nesta Felix. She's a coach, a basketball coach. She does a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah. She.
Yeah, can I get a go AJ?
Yeah.
Can I get my autograph now?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
what made you guys pick Stepinac?
Stepinac, I knew I wanted to play football.
All right.
And a lot of the high schools in the city didn't really have that great football teams where you could actually get an opportunity to go to college to play
the
football.
public school.
The public schools.
Right.
So I knew that I would have to go to the Catholic High School Football League.
Okay.
And I was introduced to that by Mike McCauley, who was the father of a teammate that I had on the Harlem Jets. He introduced me to that, and I visited a couple schools like Cardinal Hayes and Iona Prep, and I decided that Stepinac would be the best fit. But I knew I definitely wanted to play football at a competitive level in high school.
All right.
So now, the 2019 Lineman of the Year, what does that mean?
It's awesome. It's a testament to my hard work that I put in throughout high school. I had to change my body and really get in the weight room and work with different trainers to get to be the athlete that I am right now.
Right.
And I'm just so happy that I received that award.
Now, this is from all linemen. It's the Catholic high schools.
Yeah, that's the Catholic High School League.
Right. So it's all linemen within the Catholic High School League
Yes.
throughout the state.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's, like I said, we wanted to definitely big you up and get you on, and like Nessa said, get your autograph early, like do this early. So tell us a little bit more about you outside football, what people don't know about you,
Outside football, I am focused on academics. I'm really big in the classroom. I have a 3.1 GPA. I focused on that mainly. Back in middle school, I used to act actually.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a musical, Beauty and the Beast. I had a lead role in that.
Oh, okay,
That's one
okay,
thing someone might not know about me.
Okay.
I'm pretty versatile. I'm not just, football.
Right.
I'm into video games, but I do take football very seriously.
Right.
So tell us about your schedule with traveling to school every day. How's that? Do you take the Metro?
And I take the Metro North.
Yeah.
So I would wake up about 5:30 in the morning. That's when my alarm is set. Get up, do all the essentials, brush my teeth, shower, get ready for school. I leave about 7, right? And I have to get on the bus to the train, and then I'm at the Metro North, and that's about 7:22. Then I get on that, and I get to White Plains around 8, and I get on the bus, 20-minute ride to the school, get there about 8:20.
Wow. Then you have your whole day, and then you have practice or whatever after school.
Yeah, I do.
And then you go home and you got to do it all over again.
That doesn't end until about 6:30, 7, and I have to get home from there. My mom usually picks me up and gives me a ride, or I carpool with one of my other friends that also live in the city.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's what's up. Go ahead.
Are there a lot of my son went to Mount St. Michael Academy.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the football team, but I told him he was only on there for comic relief. I mean, he's currently in the Army right now, but he was on there for comic relief. I know it. So, but I know that there's several gentlemen that are in the city and they come to schools in Westchester County. There's several, like Salesian is another one that they go to. Stepinac, I pass by Stepinac a lot, and yeah.
Even Iona Prep, there's some
Iona
people-
Prep a lot. If you at 125, 125th in Harlem at that train station right there.
I actually have a lot of friends from the Harlem Jets that I play with that go to schools all across the state.
Oh, wow.
Like in the Catholic High School League, and also they play in Jersey, like Paramus Catholic, Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco. They also play in Cardinal Hayes, Iona Prep, Zavarian, Fordham Prep, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your what was the record for while you were there? What's the team? What was the team's record?
Well, my first the season that we just had, we lost 2 games. We lost to Cardinal Hayes, and we lost to Iona Prep during the regular season, and then we lost in the championship this past season.
Okay.
Before that, we won 2 state championships.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, which was an awesome experience. My sophomore year, we made it to the championship. We won that. We were able to compete in Buffalo for the state championship.
Okay.
And we were able to succeed there. And my junior year, we did the same thing, back to back.
So I know a lot of young people look at sports and music and as an option, and they don't often have a backup plan. Like a lot of people, like I see a lot of the athletes, I give them credit, like Shaq and all of them who left school early, but then they went back and got their degree, during the summertime or whatever. Where do you see yourself? I mean, of course, your goal would be the NFL,
Yes.
but if that's not where would you see yourself?
Right now, I'm thinking about getting a degree in business. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that that's the kind of thing I would want to work in, and managing a company, something like that.
You know what's good about what you just said? So even if you make it to the NFL, right now, a player's career is like a business. Like you're like I seen an interview with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, with LeBron James and Carmelo in their rookie year.
Oh, okay.
And the one thing they were saying is they had to wait like 5 and 10 years before they got the endorsements, all that. Like Carmelo and LeBron came into it, and they were already a corporation the day they stepped foot on the thing. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have your business. You have to have some business sense around you. You have to know what's going on.
My mom and dad, they tell me things like that all the time. Start really promoting myself so I can make a business and a name for myself. In case I get to that level and I have something around me that I'm recognized. I can profit from that.
What advice would you give young cats that want to be where you are, want to be that big player in high school, going to college, striving to be in the NFL? Like,
the biggest thing I can tell someone younger than me that's also looking to achieve the same goals I am is to have discipline and to stay focused. Don't give into the distractions around you, like the substances or even the negative people around you. Separate yourself from those things so that you can focus and really get to where you need to be. Don't fall for distractions. That's what I'm saying. Stay focused in the classroom, work hard in the weight room and on the field, and get to your goal.
How are the distractions right now? Because I can talk about the distractions when we were young, right? But how are the distractions for you guys?
Recently, there's been a vaping crisis in the teenage world, and obviously marijuana and alcohol. Those are obvious distractions that would be in the teenage world, and I'm just saying stay away from things like that. Those can be really tempting. Peer pressure. You see it all around. Marijuana has been more acceptable, in the U.S. recently.
One of the things I could say is a good and a bad thing. Well, there was no social media when I was your age. So the silly stuff that I actually did, there's no record of it.
Hallelujah.
But y'all are able to promote yourselves as well
Yeah.
in a whole nother way than
Yeah.
we were when you coming up. Like, I went into the music business after school, but it was like you had to sign to a label to reach the world. Like, now you can sit in your living room or your basement, make beats and some and like through YouTube and whatever, and get the attention of the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get the attention of, like, say, the Nikes or whoever from your videos of your performance or whatever. Like, that's the thing that had changed. But then, like I said, the other side is you got to be careful. Like, you might just be at a regular party or something and be in the background of a video. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
It's funny that you say that because actually my brother, he does things like that. Like, he's on SoundCloud. Shout out TCB's Productions. He does his thing on SoundCloud. He's trying to get recognized as a producer.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because I've seen the beginning of those days of video music box where you just sitting in the background, Ralph doing an interview, and you in the background maybe talking to somebody you ain't supposed to be talking to, but
Yeah.
you know your girl see you. Like, now social media is way, any phone, anything is way.
It's easy to get caught.
Yeah. You they catch you, boy.
Everything's on video.
Yeah.
camera.
So I
So,
said
so,
that's
you, so you signed for the University of Rhode Island,
Yes.
right? Did they offer you a scholarship?
Yeah, they offered me a full scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited about being going to Rhode Island and becoming a Ram. That's one thing. I was offered 7 scholarships, and it really came down between Rhode Island and Lafayette, and that's the decision I made, going to Rhode Island.
Wow. Well, and make sure you take advantage of the full scholarship thing. You know, like a lot of times, a lot of us get those scholarships, and it's all about sports, and we don't realize the education aspect that you're getting, that you're afforded, that your parents don't have to pay for. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're working. Believe me, you play college ball. You're working for it. Like, it's not free. You're earning it. But still, a lot of people in your position, can't afford to. Their parents can't afford to send them, so they can't afford to get that education. So make sure, like, whatever you do, education is always going to be important. One of Mike Tyson's biggest problems was when he started making all that money, he really couldn't read at the time. So Don King had him signing everything. You know what I'm saying? He lost $500 million. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a red light, right?
So it's just like, the more you know, the less they can take advantage of you.
Yes,
And then,
yes,
My
definitely.
mom and father are very big on education in my household, and they wouldn't allow me to just go uneducated in any situation.
Right.
I'm always prepared.
right.
So you was in Beauty and the Beast, huh?
Yeah, I was. That's one thing.
So what was your what
I was the beast.
you were the Beast.
I had the
He
lead
was
role.
the Beast. You saw when he walked in?
Yeah.
He said, I was the Beast.
That role really fit
Yes,
me.
yes.
As soon as I walked to the auditions, they were like, "You got it, man."
I pulled up 3 or 4 videos and I played the wrong one. The one that I did see, he was not letting nobody get through. And this one dude was bigger than you, and he tried to roll around, and you took him and you basically threw him to the ground. Like, they wasn't getting past you. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Like,
It's all that competitiveness in the camp season. You got to show out when you get to in front of those college coaches. You got to do your thing.
yeah.
So like, what's your workout? What do you feed him?
Would mom like to come?
Mom, she said she was like, no.
Mom is a radio show personality too. She can show her head and come in.
What's your eating habits? Because brother, you walked in and he is the Beast, ladies and gentlemen. He is the Beast.
I can tell you a little bit about my workout.
Okay, come on.
I work out with the Pro Edge. The Pro Edge, they're a lineman kind of thing. They help you with your skills and hone your techniques and all that. So I've been working with them recently, and they're just helping me be the best I can be as an offensive lineman. I also work with Coach Z, Coach Hendricks. In the city, they do a lot of things for the kids in the city, athletes trying to be the best they can be.
Now, because you have such a physical regimen, you have to eat a lot, right? You have to, like, I can imagine you're.
Yeah, and I do eat a lot. I should be eating a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I do have a heavy diet. At lunch, I'll get a salad, and I also get chicken tenders with it. You got to have that extra protein.
Right,
so I get
right.
the chicken salad and the chicken tenders on top of that.
Right.
Yeah, I try to stay away from the carbs, but a lot of protein
Right. Because you're burning all that off, so you got to keep building that
Yeah.
back up. Yeah.
for the muscles.
Yeah. Anything? Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know what else to ask.
Well, I
You
just,
have so many things.
we on this show, Well, when we started Black Westchester, one of the things I really wanted to do was high school sports. The problem was I'm one person, and y'all play all over the place, and there was no way for me to be at all the games and everything. And then to find people that were really interested that would really do it. So, and you know, we always see on the news when people your age are acting out. You know, we'll see them when they get arrested or they doing whatever, they showing themselves in the video. You know, we don't showcase enough of our young people that are doing well. And that's what I wanted. I was really excited today to showcase, to let the world see this young man that's doing his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I understand.
What I find interesting and pretty sad is the fact that that you had to leave New York City in order to find a healthy a school that is a well-rounded school. So I've been an educator for 23 years. This is my 23rd year. I'm going to my 24th in New York City, and that has always been my argument. And I've said for the child, for the left side of the brain, right? The left side of the brain, like the athletes and the acting and things of that nature, the schools, they don't have it anymore. They've gotten rid of the majority of all that. The only thing is in there is academia, and that isn't even.
And they just teaching people how to pass tests these days.
They're right. Yeah. And so, you know, I find that pretty sad that you had to, you know, travel so far, but it you know, it helps you with your gumption and things of that nature. But I do understand, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a lot of friends that I had to see go down the wrong path. And watching what they went through and where they're at now, I knew that I had to stay focused. Not only for me, but, you know, for everyone who didn't make it, you know.
Right.
And really stay on that right path and get to the highest level I can.
That's what's up. Yo, I'm hoping that young people are looking at you and you are an inspiration to a lot of young people who, whatever their situation, feel like they can't do it. Oh my God, tell it. Sin. Oh, okay. She's saying because I was like, huh? So Cynthia hasn't. She was one of the original co-hosts of the show. We just did our 5-year anniversary in August, and she hasn't been on with us for the last 2 years. So a lot of people are very happy to see her in the building. She was one of the originals when we first started the show. Me and my partner.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So one of the things that we ask on the show is, what's the last book that you read?
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. Yes.
The last book. Right now, I'm reading "Tis a Memoir," in high school for my English class. It's about an Irish immigrant who comes to America in seek of a better life because he had to flee the Irish country for a better life. So that's what I'm reading right now.
Okay. That's what's up.
I'm not yet done with it. That's
what's up. Right. Coach Nestor Felix said, "Limited options for youth guarantee failure."
Yes.
Yeah. And that's been
always an argument, you know. And so one of the things that, you know, with the current individuals who are running for the president of the United States, Bloomberg jacked up New York City public schools with the dismantling of the school. So you have a high school, and in a high school, there's 6 schools in the high school. In the high school, there would be 6 schools in that high school. They cut it all up. So then in one high school building, there's 6 principals.
Oh, hell no.
No, I'm dead serious. There's 6 principals. There's about probably about 3 or 4 assistant principals to each school that's in there. Some children are wearing one color uniform. The other children are wearing another color uniform. There's no cohesiveness. There's no togetherness.
Yeah,
it's all segregated, and this is across the board. But schools such as with the argument is like schools such as the specialized schools were the ones that were not hit like that. You know, they were kept to be the traditional high school, but the middle schools and the high schools were all cut up. There were some schools where they cut up the libraries. They cut the libraries up and put classrooms in it, created classrooms. So there are schools in New York City where there are no libraries in the school. And so right now they just passed a law telling them to put them back in there, right? And penalizing schools for not having a librarian. Well, there's no library, right? There's no library. You don't have. They don't have a team, right? If you cut up a high school and you put 6 schools in that high school, where's the football team at? Where's the baseball team at? Am I right?
No, yeah, I actually went to a middle school like that. It was 3 different middle schools in that one building.
Wow, that's crazy.
And all different uniforms and dress codes.
So we you talking about gang Crips? You got you have children that you couldn't say anything to because those children are not the children that are in your school.
But they're across the room.
You can't even discipline them.
You can't discipline them. You're doing the wrong thing. What you doing down here? You can't. If a child belongs on the 3rd floor and comes down to the 2nd floor, it becomes trespassing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We got a Zoe Prince said, what advice would 12th grade Johnny give to 6th grade Johnny?
6th grade Johnny. I tell 6th grade Johnny to eat right, listen more to your coaches and your parents, and just stay on the right track. You know, that's what I would tell me in 6th grade. Definitely to eat better.
Is there anything, like, I know sometimes even when we do the right things, there's probably some things that maybe we wish we would have listened to and actually did, and it might have made life a little bit easier. Did you have, what would you say that is for you?
Certain advice, just telling me to work, like, focus heavier when I was that young. They tried to get me focused early, and I didn't really want to listen to that. I wanted to slack around, play with my friends, you know, just eat junk food. But my diet should have been better since that young.
So I have 2 questions that I've been asking. We had a lot of judge candidates and congressional candidates, and I just tell you these 2 questions that have nothing to do with anything, but I just like to throw out just to break up the monotony. So if your house is on fire and you can only grab 3 things, what would they be?
3 things from my house. And it's just me in the house?
Well, yeah, whatever you want it to be. Yeah.
None of my family members is in the house. Right?
Whatever scenario.
I'm grabbing items?
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely taking my phone. I'm taking a picture of my grandma. I can't let that burn. I gotta take my grandma with me. And I'm taking a MacBook.
Okay. I actually have a go bag. It's my laptop knapsack bag.
Yeah.
And I would throw my laptop in it, and it got extra cords in there. I would throw all my I would take everything. That's my go bag. Like, I'm just ready to go. So the second question I ask everybody: if you were a superhero, who would you be and why?
Who would I be? I think I would be Superman. Just because of all his powers, it just probably feel amazing to be that guy. You know, everything that he can do. My favorite superhero when I was young was actually Batman. Believe it or not. Even though he didn't have any powers, I liked how strategic he was.
He had the gadgets. Yeah, like he was just a cool dude. Like
the way his disadvantage, he had to think so much more than everybody else.
Right.
So that was awesome to me that he could even hang with anybody else.
Right.
But Superman definitely just because of all his powers.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And Batman, he has to, you know, I liked a couple of things about Batman, which a lot of people didn't miss. Batman was actually created to stop police corruption. That's why to fight police corruption. That was the origin of Batman. He fought the corruption in the police department. That was the reason. That was one of the reasons. And even though he didn't have powers, he always had a backup plan to take out those who had the powers. Like he always had some, like a little kryptonite thing right here. He had something for everyone. For every one of them, he had a contingency plan. That's what made him dope. Nessa said her wallet, phone, and keys. Yeah. Now you had asked about books. What books would you suggest your peers read? Is there any books that you suggest that you feel like all your peers should read?
The Outsiders.
The Outsiders.
That was one of my favorite books. In middle school, I feel like everybody should read that.
And who's that by? What's that?
S.E. Hinton.
Okay. Okay, that's what's up.
It's a classic for for middle school.
And she always, so one of the things she did, the first paper we put out, the first year we had Black Westchester, she put out a summer reading list for the different age groups.
It's actually funny because one of my coaches is also an English coach, Coach Venice. Shout out to him. Shout out to all my coaches, Coach O'Donnell, the head coach in my high school, and Coach Ken Barger, Coach Andy Martinez. They all helped me, but Coach Venice, he really helped me, put me onto some books in the classroom and kept me focused.
I think that reading is like the interesting thing about like my journey with reading is that at one point I taught all boys for many years, right? And a couple of my boys, 12 of them, in fact, they got busted. The feds, they had a big bus in the Bronx, and 112 were arrested, and 12 of them were my boys that I taught. And every now and again I'll get a text. The funny thing is that they remember my phone number. And it's the same phone number. And so, one of the students was like, "Can you send me some books?" You used to pick out the best books. So there was a book that we read called The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. It's about the Holocaust. And it's about a little boy, the fence, and on one side, his father is like down with Hitler, and then the other side of the fence is the actual prison, but he doesn't know that that's a prison. He doesn't know. And he becomes friends with a little boy in the striped pajamas. He's like,
oh, wow.
And so the boys in 7th grade, big up all the boys in Young Scholars Academy in the 7th grade, that team right there, my principal came in one day and said, "What did you do to those boys?" And I said, "What did I do?" Because I'm liable to do something, right? And so he said, I went to math class and everybody had the book underneath the desk reading it instead of listening to the math teacher. And I was like, "It's The Boy in the Striped Pajamas." And so I think when you name a book, especially in middle school and high school, that means something. I think it's a really great thing.
Yeah, now that book, I heard about it. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
It was deep. Yeah.
So Nesta said, I guess for me, she said Luke Cage. That would be me, like Luke Cage, the bulletproof black man with the hoodie. I appreciate that. I wish I had his powers though. People would be in trouble. Let's put it this way: if I had Luke Cage powers, people in the city would be in trouble. Seriously, there was some people, because I would just be walking through some stuff. Yeah, there'd be some people in. We a lot of systems would get straightened up real quick because I'd walk through there like he did that Christmas Addicts projects. I just walk through the whole thing.
So you have 4 months left. You're at Stepinac. Did you have to do community service?
Oh yeah, I did some community service. Actually, the whole football team, we went and we did construction on a house.
Nice.
That's what's up.
Nice.
For the homeless. So we took a day out. We didn't go to school. We went straight there, and that was our community service to that area.
Very nice.
We're making
Very
a
nice.
family.
What would you say the best advice you received from a coach or a teacher, and why? It's something that stayed with you forever.
The best advice I received from a coach is probably be patient. That's Coach Gunther. He told me that when early in my recruitment, things weren't just taking off. I wasn't getting offers. I was getting looked at, but not as much as I wanted to. And a lot of other high school athletes can relate to that. So just being patient and waiting for your time to shine. Just keep your head down, keep working hard, and be patient. And whatever is meant to happen will happen eventually.
That's what's up. What's the best advice a non-coach like a teacher gave you?
Separate myself from certain people.
Uh-huh.
When I was younger, I wasn't always like the best in the classroom. I used to have like certain behavior issues. But once I started to separate myself from the crowd of distractions, I started to do better and got focused on and put on the right track.
I'm so glad that you listened to that advice because I didn't. But I used to get that,
Definitely.
to separate, and I did not. So I'm so glad you listened, though.
It took me a while.
Yeah.
It took me a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm pleased to meet you.
Definitely. It's been an honor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So anything I didn't ask you want people to know? Anything Mom want to come in here and say? I'm still trying to get Mom to come on the camera.
I do want to give a quick shout out to
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Lonnie. we give him credit for the picture that we used for this.
Okay. Yes. Does Mom want to come? Mom, and she can't be shy. Y'all don't know. Mom is a radio personality. And for anybody who saw the documentary from Rapicon, I think you produced it or directed. Produced it. Yes. What's going on with that? That need to be seen somewhere.
I think it does. It was originally
pull it close the mic to you.
I think it does. We thought about entering it in a Newark film festival.
Yeah.
But I took a break off everything, as you know, in media, because I was focused a lot on his recruitment process.
Right.
And how was that experience there? Huh?
Well, I'm gonna write a book about it. But
oh, you are.
That's what's up.
Really
I like that.
But I think for him, if I would give any parent any advice for that is know your child and know your child's ability, their capacity, and what their limits are, and push them to their limits. Sometimes parents want their children to do things that they can't do.
Unrealistic expectations.
Yes. And once you do that, you can be the best advocate for your child.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's what's up.
Yeah. You know what's interesting. You know what you're saying is. So are you writing this book for parents to read, or are you writing it for students to read?
I haven't decided, but being that you're an educator, I'll probably talk to you afterwards. because I first just started writing a journal, every day of my experience and his experience, and me trying to keep him focused and keep him like on the path. Very discouraging process if you don't let it.
Say it again.
You. So it can be a discouraging.
Yes.
Process.
That's what you can speak a little bit on. So he's well rounded, he's dedicated, he's hardworking, but that is a testament to the job you did.
Definitely.
So I'm sure you could speak a little bit about keeping him on that path. There's probably, depending on where you live in Harlem, there's a block in any direction, negative, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But keeping him on that path and how challenging that was.
Well, I think that, just keeping him busy and was one. I remember when we talked about him wanting to do football. It was like, we live in Harlem. Where you going to do football at? He found Harlem Jets. But I want to give him the credit because specifically around his discipline of wanting to understand that his body is a temple. And that process was not easy. And, he had to choose to not eat the pizza or, not eat the wings. Right. And so I could make grilled chicken salad all I want. If he went outside and ate whatever, it'd still be bad. So, I think that he's a great kid. Him and his brother are great. I don't have any problems. The most problem I probably have with them is they didn't wash the dishes like one day, right? So I think that...
I'm a grown man. I still don't wash the dishes some days, so, yeah.
Well, I'd rather have that problem,
Right.
And we just know, I'm very proud of him. And I say that very because I think that his accomplishments and his character and his integrity is really him, and he can tell the difference of people who don't have good integrity and good character, and he can choose and he makes his own decisions, and I think that's what we raised him to do, so he can make his own decision, and we're not pressuring him to do anything. He does it because he wants it. And we may not agree all the time, but he has valid reasons on why he wants to go a certain direction, and we support it.
Right. Now, now one of your sons was with you when you came to Mount Vernon. Was that him?
Yeah, it was him.
Okay, you introduced. So I've actually met you before.
Yes.
Well, she introduced us.
That's right.
Okay, I'm just remembering that now.
Yeah, he was there. My oldest son was in college at the time, so it was just him and I, and we was just rocking. We was just chilling.
Well, that's what's up. That's what's up. You have a talented mom.
The book,
definitely, absolutely.
That's a good thing. Because it's difficult to be a good parent. It's very easy to be a parent who is not good. I have 2 sons also, and so my oldest is in the Army, and my oldest will be finished with the Army on Friday. He went straight out of Mount St. Michael Academy, and he will be finished. 3.5 years, he's done.
So he'll be done with active duties,
Right.
But then he'll have some reserve time or something.
Yeah. And then I have my youngest son, who is now at the University of Buffalo, and he's an artist.
Okay.
Right? And so it's in the supporting of what their passion is and how we're going to go about doing this. And the same conversations. And, I just love it.
Yeah. It's.
I can't wait for the
think
book to
it's-
come out.
And she's a book person anyway. She loves books.
Man.
Yeah.
I just
I'm really glad my mom is with me right now, because throughout this whole process, she's been by my side. She's been my #1 supporter throughout high school. She's been to every game. She's been there through everything.
So I did my homework. I went to YouTube. I went to Instagram. And the first picture I see is you on the field with your arm around your mom, right? That's the first picture I seen on your Instagram. Like, yeah. Like, that says it all right there. That says a lot.
We've been through a lot in football, and I mean, there's a lot of opinions about playing football, but the thing that I enjoyed the most of it was the brotherhood that he got from it. He has brothers for life since he was 8, and the other thing I love is the discipline, and I mean leadership, and everything that he's humble, and he's always going to be humble. But when he's on that field and he's living life, he can hopefully take those lessons, and roll with it.
Now, for you, is the show you still do? Are you still doing the show?
Took a break off of that too.
Okay, because I was gonna have you promote it right now.
Nah, it's just right. I had to take a break off everything because every Saturday was dedicated to.
And she invited me. I was just telling Sin, like, it was early in the morning down by Wall Street. Right. Like, I was just like, it was just too early in the morning and too far away. Like,
I was like, AJ,
like, you don't get a ride? No, he was like, am I get a ride there?
Yeah, because at first Dame was like, yo, let's do it. And then when Damon dropped off, it was like, okay, wait, we're talking about the train. So you got to take this train to the next train to the bus. And it's early in the morning. I'm like, yo, I'll be late.
Well, we'll do it. We'll do another one soon, but it probably won't be as early in the morning. Right. Next time.
Now, she's also written several articles for Black Westchester.
I have.
I can't remember exactly which one because I have like so many articles I've done, but I know she's done several articles. If I was thinking right, I could have brought you because you probably still don't have a copy of the papers. I could have brought you your copies. I could have gave you copies of the articles.
We have the
digital version.
Digital version that we hand out. Yeah. And Johnny did not say it, but we're also related to the writer, the Harlem Renaissance writer Zora Neale Hurston, and so for him to say books, he reads a lot. And he appreciates a lot of the culture.
I was inspired a lot by her, Langston Hughes, a lot of those writers.
Yeah, and every day when they keep finding new literature of hers, it's pretty awesome.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So anything else I haven't asked you want people to know? Anything you want to, any advice or anything about this journey, about your son's next chapter, anything?
No, I think the best advice you gave him was to enjoy college and not just do football, but enjoy the whole benefits of
and being a student, but enjoy school.
Right.
Now, enjoy school with the moderation. Like a lot of people get away and they go that first year, they party all, fail half of their classes that year, and then the end of your term. Now you got to take all these classes.
That's interesting that you said that because right now colleges are. So I had this long talk with Kobe. My son has dyslexia, but they called his name at least, no exaggeration, 30 times at the graduation because my man is a beast, right?
That's awesome.
And so I said to him, I said, Kobe, they are now uninviting individuals to college. Like their first semester, they bang up so bad, they don't even put them on academic probation. Mm-hmm. They're telling them don't even come back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you have to make sure that you are steadfast. And so his first semester, of course, my man chewed it out. Mm-hmm. And so he's up there now for his second semester. And so you stay the course. You do exactly, what you have a good time. and make sure that your academics are on point as well as your future.
I will. I definitely will.
Work hard, play hard.
That's right.
Yeah. Somebody named Gregory Bezet, B-S-G-G-E-T-T. I don't know. Says
Gregory.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Harlem's in the house.
No doubt, no doubt. So as always, what I do, I'm going to break up just this portion of the interview, and I'm going to post it separately, and I'll send y'all a link with a little write-up or whatever. That might not be done for a day or two, but it'll definitely be there. And I wish you the best, man, for real. And I'm interested in following your journey. So just, when you make it big, don't forget about us. Don't forget about us.
We'll definitely keep you up to date and let you know everything.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. And congratulations.
Follow him on Twitter at
AJ Cornelius 65.
I'm following you everywhere already.
Definitely.
I didn't tag you. I don't know if you've been you've been getting tags all day from Twitter, Instagram, like Facebook. I've been following.
Thank you. I appreciate
That's what I do. Social media. So I'm like, we promote. So
That's right.
definitely enjoy. Congratulations, Mom. Thank you for sharing and bringing your son all the way up here to share, to come on the show. I mean, you know from being on the show, like, everybody don't always want to, make the trip and come or spend the time, and it's we appreciate that.
Sure.
So.
Thank you again.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
And one more time, a round of applause. There we go. Yes.
Thank you.
Safe travels back, and I appreciate y'all for coming, and I will be watching. So,
Thank you.
Yes.
It's been awesome.
All right. Sin, any last words for the show? It's been a while. I mean, you haven't had. It's been a long time, so you have,
Just so it's Black History Month. It's Black History Year.
Yeah, Black History. I say.
So I don't argue over Black History Month. Like, I know there's a current concern where there aren't anything happening or taking place in the school for Black History Month. That should not be your concern. Your concern should be that there's nothing taking place in the school all year.
Right.
It's supposed to be across the board where it's taught, and parents have to also make sure that they light that torch. They have to make sure that their child is infused as much as they can be infused. Another thing that I always say to parents, please, can you please start giving your child a book as a gift? I say this all the time. Valentine's Day is coming up on Friday. Why don't you get a book, wrap it up, and give it to your child as a gift? Right? Their birthday.
Or account on Audible.
Everybody knows I come with a gift. So anybody, you invite me to whatever, I'm coming with the gift of a book. Right? I might add some money to it, but for the most part, I am giving a book, because if it's the key. Right? So just once again, everyone, please remember for Valentine's Day, for Black History Month, can you just go to Barnes & Nobles and pick up a couple of books and wrap them up and give it to the child as a gift?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And if you can't, at least give me the Audible as a gift. Like, if at least Audible. Because I do read, but I've been more, because, I'm always going somewhere, sitting there with the headphones and Audible, you know what I'm saying? And I get more. Right. I get through a few more books that way.
It's definitely an investment. It's an investment.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Again, thank you everybody for the birthday shouts that are still coming. Again, I'm 54, and I will be celebrating for 54 days. So, and as far as Black history, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks, just so we're clear, Black history starts January 1st and ends December 31st, and is to be celebrated every day, not just the shortest month of the year. I mean, I know that's what they gave us on the calendar, and we're going to rock out for this, but we celebrate Black history every day. We are history every day. You know what I'm saying? We make history, and I'm working on, like, we try to do a little different in our Black history issue, because everybody else tells you how Harriet Tubman freed the slaves and Martin Luther King had a dream. We have had so many more of accomplishments and done so much more than that. And I'm tired of making Martin Luther King a dreamer, because he was much more than a dreamer. Go ahead.
I just want to tell you that, I just noticed this year, I created a museum in the library at work, and there were students who did not know who the king is. They didn't know who Martin Luther King Jr. is. So as much as we say we're always talking about the king,
Well, yes.
as much as we say that we're talking about Harriet Tubman, there's a lot of schools that are not talking about anything.
Well, I know there are people that when they did the movie, there were people that didn't know, there were kids that did not know who Harriet Tubman was, and I was like,
So
I mean, if they don't teach nothing in school, that's what they always talk about her. So it's like, if you have people in middle school that did not know who Harriet Tubman was, there's a problem. So,
and right now, I am not sure which theaters. I don't want to say that it's the AMC, but there is a theater that they are showcasing Harriet Tubman for free. But you would have to look it up. I'm not sure which theater it is. I know that New Rochelle, I don't know what theater that's called.
That's
Regal?
Regal
Theaters. Regal Theaters are showcasing Harriet Tubman for free
For
for Black
students?
History Month.
for students.
I don't know.
Oh, 'cause I know there was another thing they did. I forgot. I don't know if it was Black Panther or whatever. There was something else they did for free for Black History Month for the month of February, and it was for like students of a certain age or whatever. So definitely, I'm sure.
It's the Regal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's for what age group? What from when to when?
I'm gonna post it on
In the comment section.
honoring Black History Month. It just says get tickets. It doesn't ask for your age or anything of that nature.
That's what's up. So I'm sure Cynthia will share the
I'm
link.
gonna add it right now.
But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for listening. Again, you could be doing anything else. Okay, free screening. I see it now.
Yeah.
You could be doing anything else. Oh, shout out to Damon K. Jones, who must have just woke up because I see he shared it on every page, like in the last 15 minutes. Like it's just, he just shared. He shared the He's all these links started popping up on the screen.
Like,
so
good
shout
morning,
out to him.
Damon.
Ken Bright said, hey guys and girls, peace to you all. Let me shout to all the people that are tuned in. I didn't do that yet today. Let's see. We've had Donna Nolan, Keisha Skipper, Lorraine Lopez, who couldn't make it today. Shout out again to her. Mount Vernon City Court Judge Adrian Armstrong, Nancy Cater Maldonado, Dina Renee Robinson, Coach Nesta Felix. Oh, and Nesta is having, I'm sure we'll talk about it or have her come on soon. She has another winter gala.
Right.
They had us. They honored me last year and several other people. They have another one that's on the 28th. So Nesta hit me. We got to get her on to talk about that. Lamont, brother, I'd never pronounce your name right, but I'm just gonna say Lamont. You know who I'm talking about. Zoe Prince, Anissa Vincent.
Yeah.
Marvin Church.
So it seems like all of the the screening for Harriet Tubman is on the 11th of February, and it's at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And so definitely for the Westchester County individuals, it's at New Rochelle, New Rock City, where they will be showcasing Harriet Tubman for free.
Okay.
And once you go on the site, you just put find screenings, and then get your ticket, and then it'll show you where. Raleigh, North Carolina, they have up here, so it's all over.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Shout out to Ruth Walter, Oscar Davis Jr., Mount Vernon Public Library trustee, president, Kalisa James from Long Island, Amityville, Long Island. I said Damon K. Jones is tuned in. Damon Bacardi, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Daniel Terry, Ken Bright, and everyone else who is tuned in. We greatly appreciate you. Kwame Veer, everybody else who's tuned in. Yes, Kwame is my man. He's on the Equilibrium radio show, WHCR 90.3. Is that Mondays?
Yeah, every Monday night, like I think 10.
Yeah, I gotta come back down there. I love that show. It's like an adult hip hop show.
It is.
Like I love that show.
Yeah.
I love his show. Everybody else, you could be doing anything else, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. We are on every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. Until next week, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.